Know your true power. That's number 2 of the 5 steps to get yourself miraculously married. I shared my story of how I did it in episode 3, and now I'm breaking down 5 steps that have worked for me and for others to miraculously get married. In episode 3, I shared the story of what I call my miraculous marriage. And right now we're focusing on that there are aspects of marriage, finding that person to marry, that are out of our control. And we shouldn't feel powerless over that. There's actually a way to become very powerful. And that's by recognizing that it's not in our control, can become a spiritual experience. When we make this between us and God, that makes us powerful over the outcomes. So today, what we're going to focus on is that if we're recognizing the spiritual nature of this problem, how do we respond with spirituality? So the first thing that I want to emphasize to you is you are powerful. You are so powerful. And I know it may not feel that way, right? The experience of a lot of people in the situation is they feel powerless. They feel like there's nothing that they can do to control themselves. But what I'm telling you is that you're thinking about the wrong things. You're right. You were brought to this point for a reason. To see that the other stuff doesn't work. To see that you can't make yourself powerful by trying to control the situation. But you can make yourself powerful through spirituality. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So I want you to know the number one thing that kind of slapped me in the face when I made it to the other side, meaning once I got married, what hit me the most clearly out of anything else, everything you do matters. Every little thing you do matters. And it feels the exact opposite of that when you're going through it. But when you're out of it, you see everything you do matters. So unfortunately, I mean that for the good, and I also mean that for the bad. That every little thing can either bring you closer to the goal or farther away. So your decisions count for a lot. So now we're going to go through what might seem like Judaism 101, but I think people forget just how powerful they really are. So the first idea is zechusim, which means merits. We are told so many different things that we can do that accrue merit. So basically what we're saying is all these things that you can do to tip the scales in your favor. And it's not an if, it's not a maybe. It's written there, as fact that there are plenty of things that you can do to tip the scales in your favor. So why are we not spending like every moment that we can trying to do that? We forget how powerful we are. Or, so we did do that and we didn't get what we want. So we gave up and decided it's not working. Unfortunately, we don't know, first of all, that's a life thing, married or not, for any goal, and just that's how it goes. But we don't know, let's say for marriage, how long we'll have to do that for, or how many times. But just the fact that there's always something we can do to tip the scales in our favor, don't forget that. And if you need some ideas of zechusim, I'll talk more about it again in step number 5, but plenty of them. The other idea is mitzvot, right? We talk about 613. Really, there's more than that, but we have so many mitzvot. Guess what? We're also told mitzvot comes with reward. Now, it might feel kind of selfish, like, oh, do a mitzvah for the reward, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it does get rewarded. So if you want something from God or something you really want, wouldn't it make sense to put your focus on the very tangible, many options we have to accrue reward? And again, I know it's frustrating and hard that we don't know how much reward it's going to take, but the idea is that you make yourself very powerful by putting emphasis, putting focus. We should be pursuing opportunities to do mitzvot because they get rewarded. Again, tipping scales in our favor, getting rewarded. These are all things that we want. And now on the contrary comes sin, right? That's the dicey one we don't like to think about. But What is sin? Sin is unplugging from the power source. Sin is creating a blockage between us and God. Well, how are we supposed to create miracles? How are we supposed to benefit from God's goodness if there's a wall there? So we really have to take sin very seriously, and obviously try to avoid it as much as we can. Now, there's no one who never sins. That's too impossible. But the idea is that we can treat it with more importance. We can give it the value that it deserves, that how powerful it makes you when you avoid sin. When you have less sin, you are creating less disconnection. You are creating, and yes, also it's, it might sound elementary, but it's the truth. Sin does come with punishment. So you are decreasing punishment. So how more powerful does it get than that this is something that, again, you can control. Now, if you're familiar with these ideas already, this might sound like the basics. It might sound like Judaism 101, and it is. But think about it, like how often are we really living like this is how it works? Like we are so powerful with what we do to create our destinies. Not enough. Or we might go through stages where we do, and then we lose it. And that's inevitable. That's part of it. But you always got to come back to this reality, because, we get jaded, we get hurt, we get used to it, we get jaded, and we forget just how powerful we really are. That as Jewish people, God gave us a direct line of communication to him, right? Whether that's prayer or whether that's the things that I just discussed. We have a direct way of plugging into the source. By giving us the Torah, Hashem gave us a manual to this world. He gave us an instruction booklet to life. And we forget what an opportunity that is that we have to maximize our life, maximize this time in this world. And that when we do, it is meaningful. It's not a maybe. It's not a sometimes. It is a definite. The things that I told you, that sin is followed with disconnection and punishment, mitzvot rewards, lechusim, tipping the scales in your favor. It's a sure thing. God instructed us with being a light unto the nations, but sometimes we let them light us up instead. We forget how good we have it. We forget how special we are. We forget how lucky we are that we have these things that are known to make us powerful, to give us some kind of, control over the outcomes of our life. And instead we copy others and we mimic their lifestyle and we take on their lifestyle because it's hard, right? And people don't like things that are hard, and people don't like things that take a lot of effort, and people don't like things that, take patience and don't have, you can't see it right away. It does take belief. It does take trust, but that's why I'm putting this under the category of miracles. It actually isn't that miraculous, but the miraculous part is believing in it to the point where then you get to see it. That's the hard part, is eventually you can get to see it, but you've got to wait. You've got to believe in the process until then. The other thing that you have to know in order to, make yourself powerful and recognize the spiritual nature of this problem and respond spiritually is, God wants to give good. He's not this control freak, punitive figure sometimes that we could feel like he is or make him out to be. He wants to give good, but he needs us to be in a certain place in order to receive it. He wants us to do the right things with good and not misuse it. He wants to give us the things that we want for ourselves, but he needs us to be in a certain place to do that. So it's easy to become bitter from your experiences and give up and compromise because you feel forgotten. You feel like it's too hard and it's harder for you than anybody else, and you don't like it. But try to allow your experiences to make you better, not bitter. So try to use your experiences, as hard or as challenging as they may be, to become a better person, to grow, to develop. Because by doing that, you are making yourself somebody new. You are, the word we use is kli in Hebrew, a vessel. Like you're forming yourself into this vessel that can contain God's blessing, that can use God's blessing. You're developing yourself into somebody who will use his blessings in the right way. So you have to be really careful to use your experiences to grow, to develop, to become better, so that God sees you as somebody who can handle the good that he has to give you, that you won't misuse it. And the last idea in this category I want to give you is developing an ayin tov, which is a good eye. So basically, I think the best way that I could put it is, instead of saying what you want, start trying to want what you have. Like, yes, you're aware of what could be better and what you want to be different. But if you're in a place, try to work on the mindset of you're meant to be in that place. So see what's good about it. It also means for your relationship with others, focus on what's good in them instead of what's wrong and what could be better. Be a grateful person instead of somebody who complains. And one of the spiritual reasons for this is God, responds to like with like. If you are grateful and you are positive, he will give you more things to be grateful for and more things to be positive about, because that's what he wants from you. The other part of this is that God often uses struggle to bring us closer to him, to realize our dependence on him. And so if you're connecting to God through good, by being grateful and appreciating what you have and develop, that's what I call developing a good eye. Like, there's no end to saying, okay, what's good about this? What's good for me in this? Then you're eliminating the need for God to create struggle in your life to connect to him through that way. If you look for him through the good, if you connect with him through the good, then you are decreasing the need to have the bad or the struggle in order to get your attention. So you'd much rather do it that way, I'm sure. So in summary, what I'm saying is, you are powerful when you recognize the things that make you powerful. And basically, there's nothing more powerful than collaborating with God, partnering with God. And the way that you do that is by following the clear-cut, simple instructions that he lays out for you. You do the things that he tells you, works out well and connects you to him, and you will see the difference. And you do things that cause disconnect and he's telling you are not good for you, you will also see that. And maybe it's not immediate, and maybe that's why people have such a hard time with that. But again, make yourself powerful by aligning with him, not by going against him, by recommitting every day to following his instruction manual and realizing how powerful you are when you do. Good luck.
If you thought this recording was helpful, please share it on social media so that it gets to more people that it can help. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. If you're interested in therapy sessions with me online, please contact me through my website or my email or social media. Feel free to send me questions and suggestions of what you'd like to hear me talk about through social media or my website, lizwallensteintherapy.com. Best of luck to you on your journey. I hope to hear good news soon.